Hello and welcome to our virtual yoga class. My name is Vanessa and I'm here to support you within the rest of your practice. So we'll begin class by laying on our backs. And then notice that as you transition to lay on your back is your opportunity to start shifting your attention to your body. It begins now. As you make those adjustments, noticing how those adjustments support you in feeling more comfortable as you lay down. Notice the quality of your breath without judgment, just noticing your breath. And then when you're ready, inhale here and exhale, sigh it out. Once again, make those adjustments that support you in getting more comfortable. I recommend you begin the way that we end our class, laying in our backs in Shavasana, palms up towards the ceiling, softening neck, down the spine, hips, the ankles and toes. Just a moment of rest and pause here as we start to gather our breaths and gather our attention. Perfectly normal if you have a wandering mind, part of the process. We're learning to shift our attention back to our breath. We become more aware of the breath when we take a purposeful breath. So to the best of your ability, increase the length of your inhale and the length of your exhale. It can be a subtle shift from your normal breath, or it can be a more dramatic shift. You can inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. And then we'll begin the class with a twist. Let's bend our knees, feet float off the floor. Drop your knees towards the left. Now you're bringing your arms up to a T and you're dropping your head towards the right. So you want to make sure your head and your knees are facing opposite directions. Knee towards your left, head towards your right, arms stretched out in a T. Gentle twist here for the upper mid back, lower back. You open here around the hips as well. Soften neck, shoulders down the spine, especially around your hips. You can imagine your knees dropping further towards the floor. If you prefer to remain passive and relaxed, remain here. You also have the option of taking your hand towards your thigh, your hip, bringing your knee closer towards the floor if you want to intensify the stretch. That means your upper body will be a little bit more active here. Inviting a comfortable breath, those deep, long breaths are more difficult than twists. So right now, it's just a matter of a comfortable breath, a breath that you're aware of, most importantly. So though our bodies are relaxed, we're still working on that attentiveness, that focus. Now that's part of our mental body. Part of that practice is noticing one breath to the next, while you're also simultaneously noticing what's showing up for you in your body, physically, mentally, emotionally. One or two more breaths here, purposeful breaths. And moving slowly and intentionally, start to bring your knees back to center. This time, knees drop towards the right. And then head turns towards the left. Head and knees face opposite directions. Optional if you want to take your hands toward one of your knees or thighs, bring that leg a little closer towards the floor. It's going to intensify a stretch around the hips and intensify the twist around the spine. Or otherwise, we prefer to remain relaxed. Just keep your arms outstretched. Once again, purposely scanning around shoulders, down the spine to the hips, imagining your knees fall further towards the floor. Inviting a comfortable breath, seeing if you can remain attentive with your breath for a few breath cycles here. Simultaneously softening the body here, checking in. Got 2 more breaths here. Inhale, exhale. And then after those 2 breaths, knees come back to center. We're going to invite a full body stretch, lifting our arms up overhead. Lengthen your arms, lift your abdomen up towards the ceiling, point your toes, and separate your shoulder blades here. And then release that full body stretch, hamstring your hips. We're gonna inhale here, exhale, side out. You wanna build that bridge of the physical, mental, emotional body. Inhale. Exhale. Side out, 3rd breath cycle, inhale. Exhale, side out, bend your knees. Your feet are gonna float off the floor. Take your hands towards your knees, round your spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards chest. You're holding here. And then drop your head back. Rest your left ankle on top of that right thigh. And now you're resting your ankle or your shin, so wherever that range is comfortable for you there. That right foot will float off the floor. You're going to take your left hand between your legs and then interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. So that foot will float off your right foot. And most of your attention should be around that left hip, maybe even the lower back. Now you can hang in here, or you can bring your thigh closer towards your belly or chest. And the stretch also shifts depending how much of your shin is on the thigh or if your ankle's on your thigh. So you can see where that stretch feels good to you. It's okay to modify there. There's not a totally formal or correct way of ankle or shin on your thigh. Inhale, here, exhale. Bring your thigh closer towards your belly or chest. And then release. Now take that right ankle to rest on top of your thigh. Weave your right hand between your legs. Interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. Left foot floats off the floor. Focus on your right hip. Notice your breath beginning around the belly. Belly expands as you inhale. Inhale. And then exhale, release, feet float off the floor, hands towards knees, round your spine, chin towards chest. And then drop your knees, full body stretch. Interlace your fingers, point your toes. And then release the pulls. Just ground our palms onto the mat. And then shift into our cross-legged position. We want to make sure we take a moment here to protect our neck, our shoulders. We're going to rest our hands on our knees. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down. A few times, shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down. I'm very purposely bringing my shoulder blades closer together as I draw them down. And then after a few motions here, release your hands, lift your arms up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling, stretch up and then stretch towards one of your sides. And then back to center, opposite side, lengthening throughout the arms. Come back to center, release your hands, and then rotate your head from one shoulder to the next, either doing a complete full circle or just half a circle. Couple of rounds here. Notice which areas feel tense and sore. About 3 to 4 more breaths of these neck rolls. And then bring your head back to center, one shoulder shrug. Shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down, lift your arms up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling, round your spine, chin towards chest, and then tilt forward. We're gonna move into a forward fold. Now we're gonna relax into this forward fold, so please make sure you're comfortable, mainly watching your neck. Your neck is fully relaxed. Knees are bent. You're breathing into your hamstrings here. Cup your elbows with your hands and then rock to the left and towards the right, distributing that weight from one foot to the other. Torso's relaxed. Neck and head are relaxed here. And then release your hands. We're going to roll up slowly. Head comes up last. You lengthen your legs. Move slowly. I'm going to notice a physical sensation of letting go. Shoulders drawn down, palms towards the front. Let's lift our arms up overhead. Palms up towards the ceiling. Lift your heels halfway or all the way up and hold. Keep your gaze steady. Your steady gaze, steady breath. Shoulders relaxed. Release your hands, release your heels. Interlace your fingers behind you. Either palms touch or they don't. Elbows stretch, chest opens, lift your gaze. Exhale, bend your knees, keep your elbows long as you fold. Knees can bend here. Neck and head are relaxed. Purposely bring your shoulder blades closer together here. Deep belly breath. Release your hands. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, release, softening your neck, your head, roll up slowly. Head comes up last. Practice that physical sensation of letting it go. We can apply that, unite that with our mental and emotional bodies. Palms face the front. We inhale here. Exhale, sigh it out. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down. Bring your shoulders up towards your ears, draw them down. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Palms up towards the ceiling. Keep your gaze steady. Lift your heels. Hold. Release your heels, release your hands. We're going to bring our arms out to a T and now twist towards the right, keeping your hips square towards the front the best that you can. Take your gaze over that right hand. Come back to center and then opposite side. Come back to center, release your hands, interlace your fingers behind you, lengthen your elbows, bring your shoulder blades closer together, open your chest, lift your gaze towards the ceiling, and then bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. Elbows stretch out behind you. Drop your belly towards your chest. And then one round, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, soften neck and head. And then roll up slowly, head comes up last, arms dangle. We're going to take a moment here in our mountain pose. Your choice if you prefer to take your hands to press right against each other in front of your heart center. Or if you prefer to take your hands to frame your hips. In either pose, you're strong and active, shoulders are drawn down. We inhale and exhale for the day we've had so far. Inhale and exhale for this moment. And then inhale and exhale for the rest of our day. Release your hands, draw your shoulders down. Inhale, exhale, side out. We're gonna prepare for our warrior one. Take your left foot forward, step your right leg back. That left knee will be at a 90-degree angle. So your hips are naturally open. Oh no, this is not warrior two, apologies. It is warrior one. Your stance is still correct. Left foot forward, right leg steps back. And then our hips start to square towards the front in our warrior one. So you're planting that right heel on the floor, hips square towards the front. Our hands can remain in front of our chest center, or you can lift your arms up overhead. Keep your gaze steady, straight ahead. Now your glutes and your quads are active. Your legs are these scissors attempting to close, but they can't. Inhale, exhale. Release your hands, cup your forearms with your hands. Start to lengthen that left knee, drop your chest so it's parallel to the floor. Hold here, breathe into your hip, your glute, and then release your belly all the way down to your thigh. You can drop your hands towards the floor. Please soften your neck. Soften your head here. Breathe into your hamstring, hip. And now pivot that right foot so your toes face the front. And that left knee bends, 90-degree angle. So now you're in a low lunge. Drop that right hand beneath your shoulder. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. Optional if you want to release that knee onto the floor. Hold. And then release your hands, step back into a downward facing dog. Hold that down dog. 3 to 5 breaths. Breathing into your hamstrings. Pressing through your palms, bringing your chest closer towards your thighs. And now take your gaze right between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. We're going to roll up slowly. Head comes up last. Physically letting go of that torso. Noticing that paradox where your legs are active and your torso is relaxed. Inhale. And exhale. Warrior one, right foot forward, left leg steps back. I'm going to plant that left heel onto the floor. Hips remain square towards the front. There's a 90-degree bend to your knees. Goes up to that right knee. You can bring your arms up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Sink into that right hip. Your legs are scissors attempting to close, but they can't. Quads are active. Glutes are active. Release your hands. Start to lengthen that right knee. You can cup your forearms with your hands. Drop halfway down so your chest is parallel to the floor. Breathe into your right hip, right hamstring, all the way down to the calf. Inhale. Exhale, drop your belly towards your thigh. Drop your hands. They can, fingertips, your hands can rest right beneath your shoulders and line beneath your shoulders. Soften neck and head. And then pivot that left foot so you're in a high lunge. Now your choice, you can either keep your leg extended or release your knee onto the floor. Either way, left hand plants right beneath your shoulder. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. You're lengthening and lifting your arms up towards the ceiling. Deep belly breath. Release your hands, step back, downward facing dog. Hold that down dog. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe into your hamstrings. Arms are active. Now take your gaze right between your hands. Walk or jump up to your forward fold. We're going to inhale halfway up. Exhale. Release. You're going to roll up slowly. Head comes up last. Let's lift our arms up overhead. Sun salutation. Exhale. Bend your knees. Fold down. Forward fold. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. Step back into your plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Hands frame your chest. Inhale up. Upward facing dog. And then exhale. Downward facing dog. Deep belly breath. In that downward facing dog, lift your left leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. And then release that left foot onto the floor, opposite side. Lift your right leg, bend your right knee, stack your hips. And then release your foot back down towards the floor, and then release down towards the tabletop. Now, from your downward facing dog, our hands will tend to shift forward. So in your tabletop, you want to realign your hands so they're right beneath your shoulders. We're going to inhale up cow once. Exhale, round your spine, cat. We'll come back to neutral. We'll lift our right leg, bend our knees, stack our hips. And then bring your leg back to, or now you're going to lengthen your leg so it floats off the floor, and then lift your left arm up. So left arm, right leg are lifted. Balance and strength here. Deep belly breath. And then release. Knee onto the floor. Take one cow and cat. Now start to lift your left leg. Bend your knees. Stack your hips. Lifting your leg, and now lift your right arm up. Inhale. Exhale. Release your hand, release your knee. Inhale up, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat pose. Chin towards chest. A few more times at your own pace. Inhaling into a cow and cat poses. Pressing firmly through your palms. Getting a good stretch in the lower back, mid back, upper back, around the neck as well. Either moving with your breath or holding your cow pose or your cat pose for an extra breath or two. See what it is your body is asking you to feel into. Part of our yoga practice is cultivating that subtle awareness, those nuances in our bodies that ask for some more attention. Breathe into what requires your attention. About one more round of a cat and cow pose. And then release your cat and cow pose. We're gonna take our left leg out, and then our right foot will press against that left thigh. Do a little bend to your knee. Drop your belly and chest towards your thigh. Hands can rest on your shin or toes. Hold. I'm going to breathe into your boundary, fold a little bit more. And then release. Take your right leg out, press your left heel right against your thigh. Flex that right foot. You're going to add a little bend to your knee. Drop your belly towards your chest. Breathe into your boundary here. Inhale. Exhale. And release. Try to lengthen both legs out in front. Palms up towards the ceiling. Release down towards the floor. And then as your head reaches the mat, let's inhale here. Exhale, side out. Noticing that throughout the class, we're always practicing arriving to this moment. We're going to bend our left knee. Take our hands towards our knee, round our spine, forehead towards your knee, chin towards chest, and release. Opposite side, bend your right knee, round your spine. And release. You'll bend both knees, both feet on the floor, plant your hands on the floor. We're shifting into a bridge pose, but first, we're just going to lift our hips a few inches off the floor. Hold here. So you're not lifting your hips all the way up, you're just lifting your hips a few inches. Notice what's activated there. You want to bring some awareness anywhere from the toes to the heels. See how you plant your weight there. Balls of your feet, arch of your feet, and then release your hips. Let's take a breath. And second round out of 3. On the second round, we're going to lift a little higher, but not all the way up. Noticing here your glutes and your quads. Continue noticing how weight is distributed on your toes, balls of your feet, arches of your feet, and heels. And release. Let's take a breath to transition. Inhale and exhale. So in the third round, you're going to layer here. You're going to notice how your weight is distributed on your feet, your heels, arches of your feet. You're going to notice what's activated in the glutes and quads. And additionally, you're going to lift your abdomen as high as you can. Taking a deep diaphragm, belly breath here. Your diaphragm can fully expand here. You're decompressing around the lower back, around the tailbone. Also a gentle stretch in the abdomen. Now you want to do your best here to lift your hips as high as you can. You can keep your palms planted onto the floor, or if you prefer, you can interlace your fingers and then bring your shoulder blades closer together for a little bit more lift. Hold. And release. We'll bring both soles of the feet together and come into a butterfly pose. Hands can frame your hips, palms up towards the ceiling. You can rest your hands on your belly, chest. You can take your arms up overhead, backs of the hands on the floor, elbows bent. Find which position works for you. And then remind yourself of what your full breath is like. Inhale. Exhale. After a few deep breaths, you can let your breath go back to some intentional long breaths, not as deep or more of a natural breath. Do be purposeful in softening spine, especially around down to the hips. Imagine your knees falling further towards the floor. Let's invite 5 intentional breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. Working on our mental bodies, notice your second cycle of breath, third, fourth, and fifth. And then we'll start to transition from this pose to our final resting pose. You can lengthen your legs, palms face up towards the ceiling. I recommend taking one more inhale here, exhale, side out. And from here, your choice to practice some intentional long breaths or allow your breath to go back to its natural rhythm. Do notice that this is a pose of releasing expectations, of letting go, receiving, integrating, and then noticing the wisdom of doing nothing. Do be purposeful in softening the body, back of the head and neck, forehead and jaw, shoulders. Those are all areas that we subconsciously store tension. Down the length of your arms, elbows to your wrists and palms and fingertips. Release the upper back, mid back, lower back. down to the hips, behind the knees, to the ankles and toes. Observe any thoughts and sensations without judgment, just notice. And then we'll start to shift our attention to a generous breath. You can inhale here, perhaps exhale, sigh out. Restore some movement to your fingertips and your toes. And then as you're inviting that generous and that leisurely breath, you can lift your arms up overhead, point your toes. You also have the option of turning your body from one side to the next. Return to that generous and that leisurely breath. And then after another breath, you'll start to make your way up to your seat. You can sit in a cross-legged position. If you need to stretch your legs out, go ahead. And then we'll take a moment to appreciate that as we notice our breath, we are welcoming our experience. So with that in mind, with deep appreciation and gratitude, we'll take our hands to our heart center. Generous inhale and exhale here. You can exhale, sigh it out. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. With love,